Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very pleased and very honored to participate at this prestigious forum in this most beautiful country at the doorsteps of the Arctic. And I particularly would like to thank Chairman Grimson to giving me this opportunity, and also I would like to thank the government of the Faroe Islands for this great hospitality. Some of you may wonder why the European Union is engaged in the Arctic and why actually I have been invited. For me, it's quite obvious, but my experience tells me that it might be useful to clarify some of the basics. In the first place, the European Union, we are engaged in the Arctic because we are part of the Arctic. Let me recall you that from the 8 Arctic states, 5 of them are either a member of the European Union or very closely associated with it. In other words, we are part of the Arctic is part of the European Union, we are not an outsider. And here I would like to highlight one aspect which is often neglected. As parts of the Arctic are part of the European Union, it also means that European Union norms, legislations and standards cover the Euro-Arctic region. And this is exactly why and because the European Union has something important to offer, to contribute to the Arctic region and to its people. We have experience and we have expertise to offer. We have a long experience and expertise in high-level standards in areas such as fishing, climate change, safety of shipping, offshore drilling, as well as environmental protection in general. So therefore we can and we actually do contribute constructively in addressing many of the challenges in the Arctic. We do not only have standards, legislate and talk, but also we assist in building dynamic communities and sustainable development in the North. And to this end, we have many major cooperation programs related to the North, and the Scottish Minister already referred to it. And it does not only apply only to the European Union as such, but I would say it goes far beyond the European Union and includes cooperation with all the Arctic states. The Scottish Minister mentioned the Northern Periphery and Arctic Programme, which has a budget of 1.3 billion euros. And it takes into account the specific challenges of the region and of its people. And on my way here to the Faroe Islands, I learned about a brand new, it's a smaller project, which is called Cool Route. And it is promoting a local coastline, new business opportunities along the coastline, going from Cork Island over Scotland to the Faroe Islands, to Tromsø in Norway. So this is promoting this unique remote regions along Europe's northwestern coastline. And speaking about cooperation, I must say that we as Europeans, we are proud of our collective strength, of the power of cooperation, as it can make a difference. And I particularly, allow me to say this, at the eve of a major celebration tomorrow, 9th of May, Europe Day. It's different from the Russian celebration. But it's Europe Day, we celebrate it since many years to celebrate the achievements of the European Union. And finally, we are strongly engaged in the Arctic because we want to have a safe, a stable and prosperous Arctic. And this is important not only for the region and its people, but equally for the European Union and for the rest of the world. The Arctic is not only very local, it's also global. And this is why the European Union is strongly engaged in the Arctic, and that's why I'm here today. Ladies and gentlemen, nearly all previous speakers have referred to the fact that the Arctic is a vast region that is undergoing major transformations. Dramatic climate and environment transformations. We are skating on thin ice. We have major socio-economic transformations. Arctic states and others have interest in shipping, fishing, drilling in the region. And due to all these transformations, there are also political transformations. And no one can deny that the Arctic is gaining growing geopolitical interest. The European Union is engaged in all of these, the whole spectrum of these issues. We address climate change and safeguard the Arctic environment, which is one of the key pillars of the European Union Arctic policy. The European Union is a major investor in Arctic research, more than 200 million euros with our program Horizon 2020. And I'm very pleased also to inform you that the Faroe Islands is one of the most active and the most successful participants in this program. We're also pleased to announce that the European Union, together with Germany and Finland, will be organizing the second Arctic Science Ministerial that will take place in Berlin this year in October. Another pillar of our Arctic policy is promoting sustainable smart development in and around the Arctic. It strikes me over and over again how little is known out in the outside world regarding the Arctic. The Arctic is usually assimilated to polar bears on ice. But what is not very well known is that the Arctic is a region where more than 4 million people live and work, and the Minister of Iceland referred to this. Hence, economic development, growth and prosperity is a necessity, but it has to be done, as said here many times, in a sustainable way. And therefore, for the European Union, it's absolutely, absolutely key to strike a correct balance. Balance between, on the one hand, preserving and protecting a fragile environment and a sustainable development in all its dimensions. And when I say all its dimensions, it particularly means to take into account the people living in the Arctic, their traditional livelihoods, their rights, their aspirations. These are key questions. More fisheries in the Arctic, more tourism in the Arctic, more oil and gas extraction in the Arctic. This is certainly attractive in the short term, but will it be sustainable in the medium and long term? It might be, yes, but provided we find the right balance. And thirdly, geopolitically, another major policy of the EU is that we want the Arctic remaining a low-tension area. I have noted that nearly all stakeholders, Arctic and non-Arctic stakeholders, aspirate to promote actively political stability in the region. And the question is, can we ensure that the North will be immune for wider geopolitical winds, disputes, or even conflicts? Finally, we are looking, the European Union, very actively ahead at issues that are important for the Arctic, as, for example, improving connectivity. Connectivity is absolutely key. It's connecting infrastructure, digital connections, connecting people. In all these issues, the European Union has been and will still be discussing with Arctic stakeholders. We had a very successful Arctic Stakeholder Forum in Finland last year, and we will have another one this September in Brussels. And all these issues are also, they figure very high on the agenda of this Arctic Circle Forum. And no doubt, as Chairman Grimson has been said, it will be debated, it will be an active and a constructive dialogue, and I'm sure it will be debated with enthusiasm and passion. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the Arctic is more than polar bears on ice. It's geopolitics, it's strategic economic interest, it's new energy resources, it's climate change, it's warming up of the planet, it's sustainable development, it's preserving the fragile environment, and particularly is taking care of the future of the people in the Arctic. The Arctic is global, and that's why the European Union cares, and that's why I'm here today. Thank you.